Hi, everybody, and welcome to another movie special of Games My Mom Found. If we're still alive when you hear this recording, I am Mike Albertin, and who's with me tonight?
Stuart Hughes.
Jedi Master Emanuel Santiago.
Peter Bingham-Pankratz.
I don't have a whole podcast just to go, back and forth like for 20 minutes. It worked in this movie.
I don't know what was better there, the noise or the anticipation.
I wasn't expecting it.
I'm Kendall. You can either put Chewbacca or Han Solo on the phone.
You need to do with the first 4 minutes of this movie, which is just.
Oh God!
All right, before we get there, Kendall, if you want to go first, where my people might know you from?
So you can find everything I do at kendallcast.ninja. It's a sort of podcast network, vanity project type thing where I do lots of podcasts.
Oh, I know him. Emmanuel, how about you?
Well, you folks can find me over at youtube.com/Commander Lionheart or twitch.tv/Commander Lionheart. I'm currently doing a Star Wars playthrough, so, since we're doing Star Wars now, maybe, I don't know what I'm saying.
Is that the SNES Star Wars?
No, the new one.
It
Jedi.
should be.
Fallen Order?
Yeah, Fallen Order. It's pretty good.
It looks good. All right, and Peter, how about you?
You can find me at peterbp.com, or if you look for The Fifth Civilization on Amazon, that is my first novel. Buy it on Kindle or physical copies, and love it.
Available now.
Available now.
It is. All right, now that we got the introductions taken care of, and I know you guys would probably, any longtime listeners will recognize all three of these other voices because they have been guests on other episodes. We're bringing you a real special tonight. As you would, the title is going to say Star Wars Holiday Special. You might be thinking, oh, they're doing a special Star Wars episode. Well, I betcha we are. We're covering a movie that some people don't even know exists. I wish I didn't know exists.
I
Star
wish
Wars
it didn't
Holiday
exist.
Special.
George Lucas wishes you didn't know it existed.
1978. Yeah.
The made
Now you know.
Quote unquote movie. It's not even a movie, it's a
not a
variety
movie.
show.
It's a special, yeah.
It's a variety show holiday special.
It's a nightmare fuel.
It's something.
Which was never re-aired and never reprinted, and the only reason we see it is because of heroes out there that.
Okay, I want to.
has done a podcast about it before in the history of podcasts, so I think
brand new idea.
There's some new ground here.
Okay, before we start, I want to just say I'm sorry to everyone in the podcast right now because this was my fault. Because I was the one that gave the idea to Mike a couple of months ago. Didn't think the son of a fish would actually do it, but
Well,
But it was,
what had
nice
happened-
timing.
I had made a joke about it in the Origin special back when we still had DJ part of the group, and I had forgotten I made the joke. You listened to it and were like, hey, when you do that, count me in. I'm like, I said that? Okay. And then, yeah, here we are.
and I regret it.
For months now, Stefan and I have been worrying that Mike would remember what he said.
So for the record, I like the holiday special.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
How? Why?
Oh man,
Why?
the freaking Goodnight
Yep.
Goodbye is such a great song. B. Arthur, Art Carney.
Yeah, everyone's favorite Star Wars characters.
Yes.
B. Arthur, Art Carney, Harvey Korman,
Oh,
Jefferson
yes.
Starship.
Okay,
Diane
so-
Carroll.
So my cat. This is how much I know. This is how much I love the holiday special. My cat. You know what her name is?
The
It's
Arthur.
Chewbacca.
It is Akmina.
Mina.
B. Arthur's
Who's Akmina?
character.
Oh,
B. Arthur's character is Akmina. That is my cat's name.
You don't remember Akmina? She's the only one with any screen presence.
well, going by your thing, I named my combi that I caught last night in Pokemon Sword B. Arthur. So we're almost there.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go get like a Beedrill name. Maybe B. Arthur.
This special is just, well, one, anyone who we all watch it through, well, all of us but one watch this on YouTube, because that is the only way to watch it nowadays, except somebody has this on DVD somehow.
Yes,
and I was like,
I have it on DVD. I got it.
Why am I not surprised?
It's a bootleg. I mean, it's a bootleg copy that I got at a comic convention.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but yes, I do have it on DVD. And so I've got a question for you guys. The version that you guys watched, because you guys all watched the same version, I'm assuming from that link. Did it have commercials?
No. I have watched a version with commercials before though, because I watched before it was on YouTube. You used to have to go to like, I think it was on like Daily Wire or something at some point, and like Vimeo. People just love uploading this so that it's out there. And so I watched one that was
much to George Lucas' dismay.
Yeah, I watched one that was a full TV recording. They had not edited it down. It was all the commercials, because I can tell you that was if like Flying by Wire comes on after this, because you hear at the end of it all the time. Coming up next on so-and-so, Flying by Wire.
Actually, it did have like before it started, it said that The Incredible Hulk will not be aired tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys probably saw the version that I watched in a theater. The first time. No. So technically, it wasn't it was in the bar of a theater.
Oh, okay.
The first time I saw it. And they included the commercials in that cut, which like people are like, oh, you got to include the commercials for the full experience, because like you see, that's the best part, seeing the 1970s commercials. That is the wrong way to watch it. The pacing is much better if you cut the commercials out. That's why it's that like tight 90 minutes instead of stretching out to 2 hours.
I would have wished it was just 5 seconds.
I love watching the TV edit of any movie though, because if you watch a TV edit of a movie on like a DVD, it still does like the fade to black. Yep. Like that was a big thing in the 70s, the fade to black, so a commercial could play during this part.
And in this part in this thing specifically.
Mike, you assume too much, because I have the DVD as well, and that's how I watch.
Oh God, not another.
I should have known that.
DVD.
It has troops and hardware wars on it, so you get the full Star Wars troops.
That's the same thing that mine has on it as well.
Right.
And it has a Saturday Night Live sketch of
the Bill Murray one?
No. Crap. What's his name? The guy that was on House of Cards.
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey doing a bunch of impressions of celebrities as if they were auditioning for Star Wars.
I've seen that, yeah.
But yes.
Bill Murray SNL thing. Star Wars.
That's
nothing but Star Wars.
That's part of the opening theme for my other podcast, for my Star Wars.
Is it really?
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I always use that when I do Star Wars videos, actually.
Yeah, it starts. It's with it's that, and it's the thing that B. Arthur says at the beginning. This transmission is unrehearsed and unedited. From this. Yeah. So
we'll get to that, I think.
That's the best. I mean, that's the best scene in the whole thing. But yeah.
I love that this is a variety show within the Star Wars universe that also is part of the story of the Star Wars universe. It makes no sense.
It's okay.
We should talk. We should say. So you guys have it on DVD. Has anybody else watched it before besides the three of us? Because I've mentioned before the show, I watched it. This is the 6th time for me watching this.
This is the first time I've watched it.
I saw it 4 years ago. I saw it once.
Okay.
I don't. I was. I just remember watching it once, but yeah, I didn't know it as well as you guys.
I've seen others comment about it and review it, quote unquote, but I've never seen it myself until today when I, God damn it, 1 hour and a half of it.
Yeah, I think this is my 5th or 6th viewing, because the year that I got it, I watched it at my birthday, and I watched it with on Thanksgiving with my in-laws. And then I actually did another podcast about it.
Did they disown you from your family?
No, they got a kick out of it.
That's
like, oh, is that a Bob Mackie?
That's the joy.
Her outfit in the Wookiee porn scene.
Oh God! That's the joy of the holiday special, though, is that everyone tends to have the same reaction to it. You watch it once, and you're like, "What is this shit?" And then, like a year later, you'll want to show it to somebody for the first time. It's like a bad smell or something, where you're like, "Hey, check this out!" Like you're just throwing. It's this awful thing that no one should enjoy, but you're just throwing it out there.
It's so much fun to show other people. And I think that it's one of those things. It's kind of like watching sports. It's like, it's really boring if you just watch it by yourself. But if you're around people and you have some drinks and stuff, and you can just kind of talk through the boring parts, and then and
so
then
all of
oh,
it.
wait, no, this is the part where he's like, it's just a groomer, and he's like, oh well, I was gonna, I didn't want to insult you, I don't like being insulted myself, I don't like being embarrassed.
Thankfully, we're all needy, empty people with podcasts, so we can talk about it on air and deal with it that way.
I do have one question.
People to listen to us experience.
Early in this terrible movie, in quotations, they said Kashyyyk, but they said it like Cash. They said it the wrong way, or was it just me?
They say Kashyyyk, I think.
They say Kazook.
Kazook.
Kazook?
They say it a couple different ways within the special itself.
Well, wasn't Kashyyyk even destroyed? Like, I thought that when even in the original trilogy.
No, it's still around. It got invaded a lot. That's pretty much the only thing the planet does is get invaded.
Yep.
As a planet, like they don't really do anything else on Kashyyyk. They just fight off either like Zerka Corporation or a bunch of robots or a bunch of clone troopers.
Yeah, so I mean the one negative overall impact that the holiday special had, because it's otherwise excellent, is that Kashyyyk, the Wookiee planet, whatever they wanted to call, whatever they were going to call it at the time, was going to be the planet. It was going to be basically Endor.
Yeah.
But because of the backlash after the holiday special, they did Ewoks instead, which are way worse than anything in this.
Yeah.
Baby Wookiee
around. They were like,
seriously, have you guys seen Return of the Jedi? It's pretty
the best movie.
It is by far the worst of all the Star Wars movies.
All right,
that's a stretch.
Nope,
this
is where I ignite my lightsaber. Nope,
I can't. Attack of the Clones.
I'm out of here. Yeah, Attack of the Clones is the
Attack
worst.
of the Clones is by far the worst.
It is by far. Yes, absolutely.
As someone who goes back and watches all the Star Wars movie pretty much constantly throughout the year, that's pretty much all I do.
I always dread going to Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones. It's the most unwatchable.
For the podcast, we watch each of the movies one a month, did an in-depth review. The only movie that I saw that I was disappointed in was Return of the Jedi.
Well, I'll say Return of the Jedi still has like some artistic merit, despite it being
the space battle. That is
the space battle, the like Luke's entire outfit, where he's got that black outfit on the entire time and it reveals white at the end. Like that's good filmmaking in there.
The ground war in Endor ruins it.
Yeah,
there's 12 stormtroopers. Did you guys know that in the Star Wars universe, a legion is 12?
Yeah. Look, language is different in Star Wars.
Also, if you're pointing your blaster at hostages and then somebody does something, you just keep pointing your blaster at the hostages and get killed.
I mean,
I would much rather watch Return of the Jedi 4, 5, 6 more times than ever watch this movie again. So,
exactly. Thank you.
My favorite Return of the Jedi moment is when they have the fat stormtrooper with the big handlebar mustache that's walking in the background, and like when they're rounding up all the troopers, they pull out this big ass dude with a handlebar mustache, like very, very platinum blonde, and it's just he stands out so much compared to all the other stormtroopers. We're like, who the fuck is this guy? He looks completely different than everybody else.
I do have a question for you guys that maybe you can answer me. This couldn't have been just me. When I was watching the opening of this terrible thing, why does Mark Hamill just look so off? Like there's something he just looks wrong.
For those who don't know, yes, this is...
He was in an accident.
Yes, there's a reason.
Car accident.
Yeah.
Okay.
In 1977, Mark Hamill was in a car accident. And they had to actually part of what happened with that is that he got a big scar along his face, which is why in Empire Strikes Back, he gets attacked by a Wampa in the very beginning of the movie to explain the scar on his face. That was all a reshoot to explain like the fact that he's got this big facial scar. And so when they did the holiday special, they had to put a shitload of makeup on him and push his hair like over his forehead and over his face and like cover him with steam to like
take away his eyebrows, make him super big. I don't know.
One of his eyes is like
he looks like a Ken doll, but
he looks a little bit like he had a stroke because one of his eyes is wide open and you can tell he was on like painkillers or something. and his other eye is like droopy, and he doesn't have full control over it yet.
If you notice, everybody was on painkillers in that shit.
Well,
yeah, Carrie Fisher was on painkillers for another reason.
Carrie Fisher was on painkillers. See, her eyes were not even aligned. They were like,
we have a beautiful time capsule here. A very brief moment in time where Mark Hamill was in a terrible car accident and his face is all fucked up. And Carrie Fisher was doing tons and tons of blow, Tony Montana style. And Harrison Ford had given up on acting. This is the moment where he stopped giving a shit about everything while also having an affair with Carrie Fisher.
As Kendall said on one of his episodes when he was talking about this terrible thing, he's right though. Harrison Ford did a decent job acting in this movie. I will say that. Like he the only, even though like the set doesn't look right, I felt he did okay. Like it fit.
There are still scenes where he looks like he's drunk.
I would argue that Harrison Ford is just a naturally, he just has a naturally charismatic voice and a lot of presence. And he doesn't give a shit, but just the nature of him being him, that's what makes him seem like a good actor.
So disagree, because he did a terrible job in The Force Awakens.
He didn't. Well, he's also way older in Force Awakens.
Yeah, I mean,
the dude survived 4 plane crashes that he caused. So
yeah, the thing is, because I just watched The Force Awakens and then I watched this. Harrison Ford does a better job in the holiday special than he does in The Force Awakens.
He was way higher back then, so he had a lot more energy.
I guess it goes both ways. Sometimes it makes you better, sometimes it makes you worse.
Look, back then he was doing cocaine. Now he's smoking a bunch of weed. So it's uppers and downers.
So now he's chill.
There was one part where I couldn't hear anything you guys were saying. Did we talk about? But for those that are listening, today is the day that I made the joke in the beginning where Microsoft and Skype are all crashing everywhere, and somehow we get this recording happen. That's part of the joke, and I also,
I'm looking at the map now.
It's taking over.
It's not clearing up. We're having trouble recording this.
The first 10 minutes of the Wookiee family.
We've just mentioned that it's the annoying noise. That's all we've mentioned is the.
That is all that we should mention about that part.
It's 4 minutes.
That went on too long.
It's like a full 2 minute section where
2 minutes. It felt like half an hour for me. I don't know.
I sure it wasn't 10 minutes.
It's fucking
it's 10 minutes.
That lumpy asshole making an X-wing noise, and also. Why does he have an X-wing toy? It doesn't make sense. He's got an X-wing toy that Grandpa whittled for him, and he's making noise and flying around Grandpa Itchy's head.
May I remind you?
You got a joke.
The Force Awakens. There's a wait. In Rogue One, there's a stormtrooper doll. So
that's true, but they made that themselves. Clearly, this is like an Empire licensed X-wing toy.
No, it's made of wood. I think that the Grandpa was the one who carved it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think the Grandpa carved it.
Yeah, because he was working on one.
Carved the T-16 for Luke.
Yeah.
I just learned that from
the T-16 and I know you hope too.
Why won't anyone carve my age?
Does anyone know how old Lumpy is? Is it?
He is 700 years old, probably.
Okay.
Wait, isn't Lumpy the
Lumpy's the baby.
Lumpy's the baby.
He's the kid.
Itchy's the grandpa.
Itchy's the grandpa. Mala is the mother. The only thing we know for sure is that Lumpy is going through puberty because there's a line about it towards the end where Harrison Ford is like, "Oh, his voice is changing."
Yeah, that was dumb.
He could be 40 for all we know.
In the opening scene when they have all the Wookiees talking, as I watch it with my wife because I made her suffer through this crap. And she was narrating for it, and it worked out right. She's like, "Take out the garbage, Lumpy." And he's like, I want to play with my toy. And he goes over to Itchy, Grandpa, no, I don't have to do it. I'm like, this is great. This makes sense.
I'm happy that Tiffany did that for you because
look, I agree. This movie is great.
The vast majority of not even kidding, 60 to 70% of the dialogue in this movie is given to the Wookiees, and there's no subtitles.
Yep.
So there are 10-minute sequences where Wookiees are talking to each other, and you're just sitting there am I supposed to understand?
Yes, because in no other Star Wars movie there's subtitles.
It's visual storytelling.
It's visual story. And it works in Star Wars when Chewbacca says something and they've got like a good camera and you can see like the articulation of Chewbacca's face and you're like, oh, he's clearly sad. He said something that made him sad. And this is just like awful puppets that, no joke, there are times, if you watch a high quality version of this, there are many, many instances where the Wookiees will open their mouths and you see the faces of the actors playing the Wookiees underneath them.
I don't think that's true. These puppets are no, seriously. Okay, I'm a little bit playing a character but the puppets look good. Lumpy especially looks really good.
No,
I don't.
Okay, I'm gonna give it to you that they look good, but they still are horrifying.
I would say Itchy.
Look, Itchy is horrifying, but I think that's but he's an old guy. Old people are scary.
But Lumpy also looks horrifying when he starts smiling.
I will give you this.
It's a horror movie. This is a horror movie. I think we
You just need to have a horror movie theme playing over it instead of just the Star Wars song playing the entire fucking movie. But I will give you this. It's funny to me that Itchy
they definitely had like a specific, like an orchestral something going on because it's not the Star Wars song that's playing most of the time. It's the da 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 da.
Yeah,
it's the Princess Leia song.
It's the Princess Leia song, which they cut off at the end of the movie. She starts singing, and they cut her off with the Star Wars theme. It's like it's so amazing how lazy this was put together. Like I can only imagine that this was put together like last minute. They said we need to have something to keep people's mind on Star Wars. Lucas was like, we're gonna start marketing this shit out of this stuff.
I want to do a holiday special, but we're not gonna include Jesus. It's going to be lifetime.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
It's like poetry. It's gonna rhyme. This is going to be the blueprint for episode 9 when we do it 40 years after the fact.
I like
it's the inspiration for the Mandalorian.
Oh God! Don't tell me that. I haven't seen the Mandalorian, so don't.
Well, you're gonna hate what it did then.
I can only assume
it made this canon. So
Horatio Sands definitely references Life Day.
Yeah, they reference this movie in Solo. Solo references this thing.
They do?
Yeah, the whole joke about Han Solo's name being Han Solo comes from the holiday special when fucking
made it by hand.
When Art Carney, it's like Art Carney is like telling Mama Chewbacca, Malala Baka. What's her name? Her name is
Mala.
Her name is Mala. Yeah.
They have full names though.
They do.
Mala Tobak. Mala Tobak is the name of the mom. They just call her Mala.
Thank God.
Atichikuk is Itchy, and Lumpy is either Lumpo-Warump or Lumpo-Waroo.
Who the hell came up with this shit?
George Lucas was smoking something at the time.
Well, he was involved in
that. That's from EU stuff. Is where their full names come from.
But the whole joke of Han Solo, he's alone, is Art Carney's like trying to tell Mala that she's got like Han Solo's on his way, and she's like, "You've got a shaggy rug coming. It was made by hand." Solo.
I actually like that stupid joke.
I did. See, the problem is I've watched this 6 times, and so like Kendall, I'm starting to love it. Like I hate it, and I've watched it so much that it's like it's got like a hold on my head. It's what it is. It's like going back and watching if Eric Andre made something in the 70s. If Eric Andre was around and he somehow had access to Star Wars, that's what it feels like. Like it's an hour and a half Tim and Eric sketch about Star Wars.
I have a question that either Peter or Kendall can answer me. Is there a trading card of Lumpy? I need to know this. Please don't tell me.
There's not, at least not in the Decipher game that I play.
There is still hope for this world.
Well, you say that. I've seen bootleg Lumpy action figures that people have made.
I believe there's a Funko Pop of isn't there one of Boba Fett in his his cartoon outfit or something like that.
Yes, I think you're right.
The cartoon part was the best part of this whole thing. So.
The first appearance of Boba Fett.
He's right.
And he is like a wacky, goofy cartoon character.
I don't know. He was pretty. I don't know.
Well,
I want to say badass, but he wasn't.
Up until the part where he just leaves at the end.
Yeah.
For a late 70s cartoon, I mean it's a heck of a lot better than the Star Trek animated series.
I've never seen that.
That's true.
It's okay. Keep it that way. That's worse than this.
There's some good elements of it, but like visually speaking, the Star Trek animated series is terrible. There's elements of it that are good though.
There's some decent writing scattered throughout.
Yeah, and also like because it's 30-minute episodes, the pacing is a lot better than the original series gets at time.
We should probably explain to people listening, if you haven't watched it, we should probably explain the general premise or the general plot line of the holiday special, because it's a variety show, but it has like a narrative framework that it fits in, and it's very important to the holiday special that Han Solo and Chewbacca they need to get back to Chewbacca's family on Kashyyyk to celebrate Life Day, which is something apparently every Wookiee celebrates, and it would be a huge deal if he missed it. So they're trying to get back to Kashyyyk, and meanwhile, the Baca family on Kashyyyk is dealing with these Imperial guards that are just like barging in and looking for rebels, and they kind of know that Chewbacca is a rebel, but they don't know who he is or why he's gone. They're just looking for like a quote unquote male Wookiee. The whole thing is them getting rid of the Imperials and Han Solo and Chewbacca coming back, and then like Luke Skywalker and Leia are kind of thrown in the background to lend a helping hand.
So the thing about that element of it is we see what it is, what the day-to-day life of what it's like to be on a planet that is occupied by the Imperials. In the movies, we always hear that the Imperials are bad guys, but we never see it. We never see the atrocities that they're doing.
The thing is, the atrocities they're doing aren't that bad. They're just kind of being like slightly annoying at best.
I'm not paying for this rumor.
Well, let's be real. They were kind of assholes to the kid. They broke his little bantha stuffed toy.
That was every time.
Even Darth Vader was looking at them like, "Wow, you guys are assholes, man! I didn't tell you to do that."
Like expensive. It was like a shitty little computer that didn't work, and they were just like, what's this junk?
No,
they broke his stuff.
Computer does stuff.
They ripped its head off.
That's true. They did rip his
decapitation, man. Like,
but then, one of the Imperial guards goes into Art Carney's shop, and whose name is just Dan, Trader Dan.
Which that guy should be like a higher officer because of his voice alone. Didn't you hear it?
He's like a respected merchant on Kashyyyk because he apparently has some say with the Imperials. Like he has some level of reputation, not necessarily with like the stormtroopers, but with the actual Imperial guard and officers.
There's got to be one of the few humans there.
Yeah, he has registration. And he's like, at some point, he's just like, oh, that stormtrooper stole a bunch of shit from me and ran off in the hills. And the Imperial officer is just like, yeah, that sounds about right. Okay. You seem trustworthy, guy who sells crappy trinkets on Kashyyyk.
Well, he trusts a human more than anybody else, I'm sure.
I guess, over his own soldier.
Yeah.
And throughout this variety show, in quotations, there's different little scenes, but the one that comes up early on that has stuck with me, and I feel like everyone who's seen this or knows of it knows the whip, stir, whip, stir, beat.
Pound,
stir, whip, stir.
Oh, that's so great.
Stir.
So entertaining.
God, okay, I didn't realize how racist that was.
That's wrong.
Until now. Like, I watched this 4 years ago. I didn't catch on it, but it's pretty damn racist now when you look at it.
Wait,
what?
Explain to me, because
remember,
I'm not from the US, so
one is drag, which is not really racist or anything, but it's the guy Art Carney. I think it's Art Carney, right, or someone else.
That's Harvey Korman.
Whoever the hell he is.
Harvey Korman from the Blazing Saddles.
Yeah,
I've never seen that movie.
Terrific.
Me neither. I should, but
famous sketch comedy comedian from like the
Sarah Burnett show.
60s.
And he's wearing Well, he's wearing blackface in that scene. I swear it's blackface.
See, I'm gonna pull you up on that. It's not blackface. It's like bronze face, but it's just the cameras were so bad.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wouldn't.
You don't think it's blackface?
I wouldn't call it blackface. Blackface.
I feel like that's a little stretch.
Yeah, it's like gold bronze, but this is a thing that actually happens with like there's some old episodes of like Twilight Zone too that people brought up that they thought they were doing blackface, but the actual paint was gold. It's just impossible to tell on like 60 or 70-year-old cameras that don't look that good. Also, yeah, I'm gonna bring that up too. So talking about how lazy this is, the cameras they change cameras so much. Like I don't think there was any DP on this movie. Director of photography. You
can see the difference very clearly when they do the B. Arthur bar scene. That is the best. That is the best scene that is in the whole thing.
You can tell because basically the original director of this was David Akamba, and he left. Probably smart. He left, and Steve Binder took over. Steve Binder, who did a lot of other like TV specials and variety shows. It's like what he's kind of known for. So he took over, and you can tell like what parts of it were shot by Okamba and what parts were shot by Binder because it's a stark difference. There's a part at the end where suddenly it looks like it was shot on film, like high def. And it's like, what the fuck? Why is that? That doesn't belong in this. All this other footage looks like it's from 1959.
In reality, but hey.
So yeah, it's like every now and then the camera work will just be really shitty and then really good and then really shitty and really good.
Okay, so I mean the other thing we were kind of saying about the cooking thing, so Tiff had also just texted me, and because she said because she's an alien, and I don't know, my brain went to racist, but
yeah, so she's an alien. You can see that she has 4 arms instead of 2. So.
That's part of the joke is that as she's stirring and whipping, as Chef Gourmanda has to give her official title, as Chef Gourmanda is whipping and stirring, more and more arms keep popping out, which is
as you would when doing some bantha, whatever the hell it was that she was cooking.
Bantha stew, I think. Bantha stew.
That's what I'm gonna start calling you from now on. Bantha stew. Hey, Bantha stew.
Bantha. I'll take that. I'll take Bantha stew.
You can use that nickname for any game now. Just put it Bantha stew. Hey,
it's Bantha stew here.
Hey, Bantha stew here. Bantha stew here live from the holiday special.
Okay, I mean that makes
Nerf herder.
I hate that part.
Star Wars universe.
So stupid.
I
thought it was stupid when I first saw it. I still think it's stupid.
It's terrific. You're wrong.
I like Nerf herder. It basically is like saying you're a backwoods hick.
Yeah.
The damn Nerf herder.
Not Nerf herder. I'm talking about the cooking thing. I'm okay with Nerf
herder. Okay. You need to explain, man. Don't make me ignite my lightsaber again.
Also, you gotta. I mean, that's it's Julie. He's doing a Julia Child impression.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say too. Next,
relevant to the discussion.
Yeah. Relevant in 1978, probably too, huh? Not 2019.
Right. You are just going over my head. I was born in 91, so I have no idea what the hell you people are talking about.
Julia Child was an old lady who did cooking on the TV and had that like high-pitched British voice, like what he was doing. Also, if you remember those shows, I always remember like basically thinking like if I was actually going to try to follow along with one of those shows, I would be like frantic, just like Mala is. It's like so relatable.
Yeah. And here's something that you can find at your refrigerator: a dolphin.
For other people like Emmanuel who don't know who Julia Childs is, that is a person worth looking up because Julia Childs has a very interesting life. She worked for like the OSS in World War II.
Watch Julia and Julia.
Yeah, watch Julia and Julia, or watch watch that new movie about her that was it Baking with Julia that like
I think that was it.
It didn't go into the fact that she was a fucking spy at all.
It's very elite.
It's we're talking about she worked for like the equivalent of the CIA during World War II. Oh, good. Go, yeah. Anything I can do to not talk about this movie.
And then watch the Dan Aykroyd.
I'm noticing.
Yes, the Dan Aykroyd thing where he like cuts himself.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
Peter, do you want to take over the best? Well, another dumb part of this movie. I was going to make a joke, but with a virtual reality fantasy program that Itchy watches.
We talk about Cirque du Soleil.
Excited.
the porno.
No, the
Dan
soft
Carroll.
porno. The soft porno.
Softcore porno.
Dan Carroll, a Academy Award nominated actress, Tony Award winning actress. And I think is it fair to say the first really minority actor in all of Star Wars?
Yes.
I think you're right.
It's Lando because Art Carney's character was going to be Lando Calrissian.
Yeah.
Oh.
What?
I know that.
I don't know. I might be making that up, but
I think he was based on
that.
Though.
I heard it somewhere. Look, all of these facts, any facts that I say about the holiday special, I probably heard on another podcast where there were 4 to 5 guys yelling at each other.
Like this one?
Yeah, exactly. Yes,
I'll back you up on that one. I've heard that as well. I've heard that Art Carney was either supposed to be Lando or that Lando was originally going to be based on him.
Like based on him, yeah.
No.
And then they just got lucky enough to get
Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams in there, who just owned that fucking role.
Yes.
Well,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly I don't know. It's the most for me. It's the most cringy part of the show. And Dan Carroll, by the way, just died about a month ago. So it's even weirder looking back on that.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't Itchy's basically watching porn in his living room?
Oh, 100%.
With like his with the family all gathered around, and
so that's interesting you say that, because I think every time I watch it, I'm like, is this because I see the Star Wars Holiday Special as something that like it's a snapshot of what it was like in 1978. So like these types of variety show specials, did they have like weird like sex appeal things where people got really, really excited? Was it like Baywatch or whatever? I mean,
Baywatch wasn't until the 90s.
It's for the whole family. It's got something for the kids, got something for the adults.
Right. Got a little something for daddy.
Weird.
I think the wrong audience.
And why is Itchy's fantasy a human woman? That's the real question.
I don't know. I guess.
He's an old Wookiee. He's had it all. He's he was very sexually experimental as a young man, young Wookiee. And so, he's out there as an adult. He just doesn't give a shit anymore. He's like in his heyday. What would be great is, if for any reason, I would love if at some point during like the Golden Girls, Itchy walked into the sets. That's all I could think about watching him and like knowing B. Arthur was in this movie. seeing like them together on screen as some sort of like Golden Girls cameo.
We don't really know how old Itchy is though. I mean, Wookiees live for hundreds of years. He could only be like 20 years older than Chewie or whatever. So.
Didn't somebody say 700?
I think that was somebody that was making stuff up.
Yeah, I said he was 700. But
just like everything surrounding this piece of shit. Yes.
I think we should all have the Wikipedia page open so we could just have the true facts on hand at all times.
So I'm checking this right now because I wasn't sure.
Mm-hmm.
When Chewbacca met Han Solo, he was 200 years old. So it's entirely possible that Lumpy is like 47 or something.
He can live up to 400 years of age.
And Itchy is 225 years old. So,
because I mean, when Chewbacca meets Han Solo in Solo, he looks pretty young. He looks like a 20-year-old Wookiee. I think he does. He's very
fresh
skinny.
200-year-old Wookiee. Yes. Freshman year. Yes.
Only smells like 5 wet dogs instead of 7. I love that Itchy has like a bald spot on his stomach. Like he's going bald because he's so old. But it's also terrifying to know that there's something underneath the hair.
I hate Itchy. I really do.
Talking about the fucking hair. Another weird problem I always have with this is that in this thing, I don't even want to call it a movie anymore. In this thing that exists, Mala, the mother Wookiee, wears an apron.
Yes.
And at some point, all the Wookiees show up and they're wearing red robes.
Yep.
So does that mean that Chewbacca is naked the rest of the time? Like they have a concept of what clothes are.
Well,
they're all just handmaidens.
I mean, just because you choose to wear clothes. Yes, he is. Well, first of all, yes, he is naked. But culturally speaking, there's not necessarily a requirement to for them to wear clothes.
There's no social requirement that a Wookiee wear pants.
Yeah, I mean, Mala wearing an apron, that's to keep the raw meat from getting in her hair. Imagine that. Imagine
okay, well then explain the robes, explain the cloaks.
It's ceremonial.
Okay. It's ceremonial.
It's because
they only used it for life day.
Honestly, it's because they couldn't afford to make full Wookiee costumes for all of the Wookiees. They could only afford to make masks.
That's what happened in Planet of the Apes. So, to be honest, that's part of it.
I would love for some movie to come out and be like, yeah, we didn't get any wardrobes for our actors. They're all just naked because we didn't want to spend the money on buying a wardrobe. So in this universe, it's socially acceptable for everyone to be naked. Also not wearing makeup.
Can we call up George Lucas and just start asking him all these questions? Like, hey, George, so what was the process about giving her an apron and all these Wookiees, those robes? And, well, you see, they're nudists at heart, but on Life Day, they decide to use the robes.
Originally,
okay, the other...
No, it's okay.
Another thing that I don't understand is why is Jefferson Starship the band picked for this terrible special? That's the part I don't understand. Of all the bands in
the bigger question is, why did they cover up with glowing pink things all the instruments except for one on the left, one of the guitars on the left, when they show the shot of everybody? Like, if you look closely, everyone is covered with the pink thingy except for the one on the left with the guitar. Like,
yeah, it's like
you're gonna do the job, do it right,
over
man.
The camera, but they left a spot out for some reason. My favorite part about the whole Jefferson Starship plot line is that it's only in there for Art Carney to show an Imperial officer to distract him from searching the house. It's like, hey, check out this cool thing.
So after they make that call, and at one point I thought, okay, they just have a phone hidden there, nothing special. Like, they have it open, they don't close it until the stormtroopers come in. You think if you lived on an occupied planet, like, and you're talking to rebels, you would like, let's hide this a little bit or make sure it's closed. Not be like, oh man, the troops came in, I better close the door while they're inside here.
Nobody was paying attention to what they were doing regarding this holiday special, because then you see Arthur Carney just closing it like, oh wait, I'm supposed to do this.
Yeah. Well, there's a part where the Imperial officer calls at the end, and they're sitting there like, what are we gonna do? I know, I'll say something. And that's when he's like, the stormtrooper ran off to the hills. But he says that I'll give them credit. They add a line in that's like, this is now a two-way call. But is that just assumed with every call in the Star Wars universe? Is that you have to click accept for your part to be on their part? Because everything.
Well, that's the special. That's the special talk to the guy that looks like Grand Moff Tarkin phone.
Yeah, the guy who's not Grand Moff Tarkin, because
Grand Moff Tarkin, Grand
Moff Tarkin is dead. Yeah,
but who was definitely supposed to be Grand Moff Tarkin. At some point in the script, they wrote Grand Moff Tarkin, and then somebody else said, "Oh, but he's dead," and they were like,
"Died in episode
is
4.
He?" Like, yeah, he's dead. Shit. Get this other guy, I guess.
We do get a deleted scene with Vader and Chief Bast, and very ADR'd dialogue. But
all the stuff with Vader is reused video.
Right. Yeah.
But that scene was ADR'd. That scene was ADR'd in the movie too.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
We'll get to the archive footage.
Really? Also, like all the scenes when they're in the Millennium Falcon, except when Han Solo's sitting with Chewie. I mean, you can tell that's new. But I swear that background did not look like it does in New Hope. But there's something wrong with the set they're sitting on.
The way it moves is like, oh my God, we're moving in this shit.
I mean, I was just like, what? Why is this all like? Why couldn't they just reuse the set they used, but maybe get different people? Or I'm like, what? I don't understand it. That was, but every time they're like shooting in space, you can tell all that was straight up from A New Hope.
No budget.
And $1 million. Had $1 million for the budget.
Yeah, you had to divide that million into the actors that you brought back.
Yeah.
All their budget went to the actors in the R2-D2 steam machine that just kept breaking.
Boy.
Where Luke's like, I would help fight the rebels, but I've gotta fix this fog machine. Darth Vader will just have to wait.
Also, the scene with Princess Leia on the goddamn space tax.
She's writing a note or something.
The brave, independent woman of A New Hope is doing space taxes, I guess. That's what it looks like.
What it was?
I don't know, but they don't say space
I was like,
taxes. But if you look, that's literally what it looks like. Like here in Puerto Rico, we used to have like a comedy show where there was like a one of these tax people doing the paperwork and whatnot, and it literally looks just like that. So I know that's what she's doing, space taxes.
I thought you were about to say, here in Puerto Rico, we do space taxes.
Yes, we surrender our space taxes to the Empire. All hail Lord Vader.
You know what?
Puerto
That
Rico
is
is the
more
last
true.
line of defense.
You know, Emmanuel,
that
that line is more true now than it would have been years ago.
Oh,
So I just got to say that. Sometimes it feels like that. But, hey.
So statehood now, is that what I'm hearing?
we fought the Empire. We don't even get to be a state. My favorite part, one of my favorite parts of this whole special is when Carrie Fisher, Princess, I always just call her Carrie Fisher now. When Princess Leia calls in and is like asking them about Life Day and how Han is, and then he's like, "Oh, Han's not here," and she's like, "Oh, well, that's strange," and that's the end of it, basically.
That's more than we bargained for, or something like that. I don't know.
I thought they would be there by now. It's weird that they aren't. What could be keeping them? It's like, there's a war on, right? Like, you're fighting a war.
You know that you're in a Star War, right?
Yeah.
Look,
people are dying, Leia.
Look, they know that Han can handle himself.
Yes.
They're a little bit concerned. She's a little bit concerned, but she doesn't want his family to be, to panic.
Well, you never tell him the odds. He knows. He knows he can.
Hey, he's got the lucky dice with him that he took all those years ago.
Here we go.
So I don't think they're in the scene.
No. I don't think that I've ever seen the goddamn lucky dice from The Last Jedi, actually.
They're
in Solo movie.
Until
besides Solo.
Yeah, the lucky dice weren't a thing until one of the books. I want to say that was
they were in A New Hope.
They were
in A New Hope, but they weren't like elaborated on. Like, he didn't say like, and here are my dice from Lando's. They were just like a thing that somebody put in the cockpit.
Yes. These lucky dice.
It was before everything had to be explained.
Yeah. So it's just like a nice little set piece in the background that was like a hint at who Han Solo was.
It was a simpler time.
I want to say, I don't remember what book it is. It was one of the EU books talked about how he used those dice to win the Millennium Falcon from Lando, even though in Solo he didn't use dice to win the Millennium Falcon from Solo.
Yep.
For Lando, he just won it in a card game, but he doesn't have the cards hanging up.
Because the EU didn't happen anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
And even the Han Solo,
the EU didn't happen, but the dice are still in the movies, and they made them such an important part of them. It was such an easy thing for Solo. All you need to know is that the dice are important.
Look, I think we've established that all of this is fucked up.
It's Solo. They're like, how did he get the Millennium Falcon? I know. He won it in a card game. It's like, do you not
won it by believing in the Heart of the Cards?
To the Thrawn trilogy.
Yeah. So then what the fuck are the dice for?
I don't know. I'm saying that the Han Solo adventures, or especially the Han Solo trilogy, wasn't even canon in 1992.
Fucking Christ.
I mean,
I love Star Wars, but I hate Star Wars.
no one hates it more than Star Wars fans.
Yeah. Yep. That's.
Was this even canon for very long?
Yeah. I mean, it's still canon. So
Life Day is.
I mean, most of it's canon. What? I don't know what.
The holiday special was never canon.
No, it's not. You are making that up. The Battle of Kashyyyk. They did not destroy Kashyyyk in Episode 3.
They very specifically want to keep Kashyyyk because it's got valuable resources.
Yeah.
The Life Debt book in the new canon, Aftermath. It's an awful book, but they do liberate Kashyyyk in that movie or in that book.
We're gonna find out that there's some like secret canon that Mike knows about where Kashyyyk was destroyed.
The only thing I can think of is that there was that one story where the Wookiees built the Death Star, or they were the slaves that built it.
But they're enslaved, but it's not destroyed.
Yeah.
But then there was the original story of that the Death Star blew up the planet where it was built on.
I'm going on Wikipedia.
I've never heard
that.
That was I think the original story, or in the EU canon. It was built like the World of Despair. It was built by like Wookiee slaves, and they blew up its planet. They blew up the planet. If you look at the Wikipedia, you'll see it.
I'm looking up
I-
Kashyyyk
yeah.
destroyed now.
But it's still not Kashyyyk because they went back to
Right.
Kashyyyk existed in the EU a bunch of times.
Yeah, Kashyyy's always been a
I think
planet
I'm
and
just.
stuff.
Yeah, Kashyyyk was
I
even
think
in
Mike's-
Knights
I
of the
give
Old
Mike too much
Republic.
credit,
So
maybe.
And it's pronounced Kashyyyk, people. It's
Hey,
not
when you
Kashyyyk
search,
or
it's
Kashyyyk.
Kashyyyk, the first thing that came up, or Google can hear what we're saying, it said, was Kashyyyk destroyed? Came up my Google, so I'm not the only one.
I think it's just hearing you and helping you out.
No, it's Mike. It's just because you have Googled that like 6 times.
I haven't
every
yet.
day.
Was Kashyyyk destroyed? Like in the middle of
Large
Revenge of the Sith.
portions of Kashyyyk were destroyed in retaliation for their acceptance of several Jedi who opposed Darth
Okay,
Vader's
large
regime.
portions, but not the planet.
exactly.
So
It's
a few
saying
continents.
that. What was the planet in freaking Rogue One that got blasted with the Death Star but wasn't destroyed completely?
Jeddah.
Jeddah. Yeah.
Well,
Jeddah City's
one of them.
destroyed.
yeah, Jeddah's. Yeah, and then the other one is crap.
Yeah, the other one was crap. Oh God, what was the last planet they were on?
Where?
Yeah, yes. I the that.
Yeah, it's
Scarif.
not.
It's
Scarif.
Scarif.
Yeah, Scarif.
Scarif.
Scarif wasn't destroyed either. It was just like,
Yeah, because Alderaan is the first planet to be destroyed by the Death Star.
yes,
Canonically speaking.
it's the first one to be completely destroyed,
Yeah, completely.
and then like 5 more planets in by the Starkiller base.
Okay, in Wikipedia, it says that Chewbacca lived on Kashyyyk with his family until resuming his adventures with Han Solo prior to the Hosnian Cataclysm, which is what happened with Starkiller Base in The Force Awakens. So it's, as of The Force Awakens, it's still around.
Okay.
Just in
No
case.
idea.
Also, Chewbacca
All right,
doesn't
one thing-
have.
I think Michael still believes it was destroyed, but I
still believe that.
So,
But I do want to talk about.
We learned that Mike is racist against Wookiees, and he just hates them, so he refuses to admit that they're
I
planet
was
exists.
there, guys. I saw it with my own eyes when they blew up Kashyyyk. Oh, it was
It's like the whole like China Dalai Lama thing, where like they won't admit that the Dalai Lama is real. This is Mike. Mike refuses to admit Kashyyyk is a planet. Kashyyyk,
All right.
I think you mean Alderaan too.
We had mentioned a little bit about the cartoon, but I want to elaborate more on that. So in this middle of the special, they have Lumpy why the troops are inside the house, and to distract Lumpy, puts on the headphones, and he starts watching a cartoon, which then we all get to watch. There is something off, like especially everyone's faces are just wrong.
Yeah.
Like Luke's face, look like you grabbed it and pulled it and stretched it.
It's like it's a stylized thing. It's because it's the guy that did Heavy Metal.
It's
Um,
it's a stylized thing, but all the faces are stylized differently.
Exactly.
Like
Especially Han Solo's. when you
Luke
see
has.
him.
It looks like Han Solo is missing all of his like facial muscles and bones, and then somehow Luke got them.
Yeah.
And also, Luke is wearing a third outfit in this special. He's in the beginning when you see him, he's wearing the orange jumpsuit from New Hope. In
Yeah.
this part, he's wearing the gold jacket from the ceremony, and in the third part, he's wearing the original white costume in the end of this special.
Yeah.
Man.
I just
Well,
don't
it's to show
understand.
that's a filmmaking technique, Mike. It's to show that his character has evolved and changed throughout. the
It's
film.
called selling toys, Mike.
It's all about character.
I don't
No,
think there were. I mean, there
Star
were
Wars
toys.
was never used to sell toys. This is about character development, Mike.
Oh, I know Star Wars. I have old Star Wars toys from the 70s, but I don't think this
So
holiday
this
special
lightsaber
had
that I
toys.
have in my hands, it's not real then. Okay, got it.
It's not real, no.
They would never debase Star Wars to sell toys. I don't know what you're talking about. That's
But
never been a thing.
This movie didn't have toys, right? I remember, that's what Kendall was saying.
Oh no, it absolutely did.
No, there weren't specific toys specifically made for the
Holiday special.
for the holiday special. I mean, the turnaround would have taken too long to produce them for that.
And
I think
everyone
Okay.
only
did this.
later they had toys. Like they made like 20 years later, there was like a commemorative toy of something that I don't know.
It was like a little like wink, wink, nudge, nudge from
Yeah.
Disney finally admitting that that this thing exists.
Okay, but I do want to talk about. I do like the Boba Fett in this because I just like Boba Fett, and like Boba Fett shows up, like they don't know who he is, and I want to say in Empire Strikes Back, don't they they know Boba Fett's a bounty hunter?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Yeah.
so this is when
Yeah,
they first
because
met him, and okay,
This is the
He's
first.
a very well-known bounty hunter, isn't he?
Yeah, this is the first on-screen appearance of Boba Fett, and it's also Yeah, like Boba Fett. He's not like I don't want to say he's not like completely developed as a bounty hunter, but he's clearly like
not very good.
Well, he's like, this is him like meeting. I hate talking about this in terms of like actual story, but this is him meeting Darth Vader, and Darth Vader like officially hiring him on as a retainer for the Empire.
Oh, and a spoiler that I'm going to kind of say that I didn't realize till spoiler for Mandalorian, which has already been out for a month at this point.
Oh boy, let me take off my.
It's not a spoiler. The gun that he has,
like a week maybe.
Oh, that okay.
Well, this ain't getting published right away. So that rifle he has on the back with the fork
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That's also he has that same type of rifle in the Mandalorian. I was like, oh, I know. I'm pretty sure it's a different character. I don't know for sure. So
it's a different character.
Yeah.
But I thought that was cool. All these years later.
There's 3 references in that first episode. There's Horatio Sands saying Life Day. There's the fork gun, and then Nick Nolte's Ugnaught character makes reference to the like beast that Boba Fett's riding in the like the like dinosaur looking thing.
Okay, but just because you reference something doesn't mean that thing from which you reference it is canon. Because they reference Terraskasi in Solo, a Star Wars story, that doesn't mean Masters of Terraskasi is canon.
Yeah, 100% canon. It's totally
no. Okay. No.
As much as I want,
and I'm gonna burn the office right now.
There's no story to Masters of Terraskasi. Like they created that's actually that's the one bad thing about that game because it's otherwise awesome.
Oh God.
Well, they also Star Wars, Clone Wars, and Rebels are both canon.
Yes.
And they both have references to Knights of the Old Republic, but Knights of the Old Republic is not canon. They also changed Korriban, which I'm still fucking pissed about. It's not Korriban, it's Moravan, and it's totally different. And we didn't invent a new planet. We had to get rid of this one planet for some reason because fuck you.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's real dumb. They go to
Korriban.
Now in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, I want to say the last season. In fact, I know it. Well, not the last.
The last episodes. It's in the last episodes. Yeah,
it's in the last episodes of season 6 because season 7 is coming out still. Yeah,
right. The lost episodes. LOST. That's what that season was called because it's like 6 episodes that were partially in production when
it was canceled.
Unfortunately, they weren't able to finish an episode about Boba Fett as a child, like learning to be the Mandalorian warrior. Because I've seen footage from it. It's really cool looking. But yeah, there's a series of episodes where Yoda is learning how to do the Force Ghost thing from the
Qui-Gon
Force Ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn, from like this disembodied voice. And yeah, he's like, you must go to Moraband. And I was like, what the fuck is Moraband? And it is Korriban. They just changed the K to an M and added a D, and they changed the planet entirely. It's no longer like a Sith graveyard. Instead, it's like a black planet with nothing on it that's got like a single tomb or like some kind of tomb looking structure. It's so annoying.
That's weird.
Knights of the Old Republic was dumb anyway.
Oh, okay.
The whole
era
is the worst.
Korriban is the...
Besides Return of the Jedi, Knights of the Old Republic is the worst.
Did you just say Kreia? Why is Kreia was the worst?
That's it. I'm gonna force choke a bitch tonight.
Krayt was all right. Darth Krayt was all right. Not, I don't know. The thing about the Legacy books and the Knights of the Old Republic stuff, I didn't really consider that canon like anyway because it didn't have anything to do with continuity.
Well, it was never canon. Plus, it takes place like 2,000 years in the past, so it doesn't really matter.
Right. That's what I mean. But
Korriban was, and first of all, Knights of the Republic is some of the best stories told in the Star Wars universe. But
thank you, Stu.
Second of all, the Korriban in that universe is really interesting because it's like a planet that's just covered in like sand and like debris and desolation. It's like a planet that died because the Sith went there. It's really interesting.
So it's like Jakku.
Yeah, it's like Jakku, except Jakku was like just another desert planet, whereas Korriban was. It's like hinted that at some point it was a thriving planet that got turned to death, whereas Jakku was always just another Tatooine out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, Jakku was Tatooine 2.0.
I mean, Jakku was only there so he could remake A New Hope with new characters. But hey.
So Jakku, I haven't played the the video game. Jakku was always a desert planet even before the Battle of Jakku.
Yes, I've played. In Star Wars Battlefront 2, you play in the Battle of Jakku, and it's.
I thought that it like that the desolation and stuff was because of the Battle of Jakku.
No, it was always a desert planet.
Planet.
My fan theories are better than J.J. Abrams writing.
And now we're getting a third desert planet now.
Your fan theories are just the old Republic, though.
I like my fan theory where Kashyyyk was destroyed. So hey,
all right.
In our universe, Kashyyyk was destroyed. Jakku was once a thriving, amazing city covered in green. Chewbacca had a family.
We should talk about when they go to the when they bring up Tatooine in this stupid movie, where the TV comes on, or like everyone must watch this special where on this hive of villainy scum. I said it wrong.
Okay, that's a weird scene though, because it's live footage for everyone to see, but it's and it's supposed to be Imperial propaganda, but it's clearly people, Arthur being like, "Oh, these Imperial assholes," and
well, it's just like the old Russian propaganda where they showed that the poor people in America were overweight, and it backfired.
It has my favorite line in the entire special, and it's no matter how many times I watch this, it still makes me laugh out loud whenever I hear it. Where they're talking about Tatooine, and they're like, "And now for you, footage from Tatooine, a look into the terrible lives of those who live there, so that you might be more appreciative of your own." It's the stupidest propaganda thing I've ever heard. I love it.
Basically, this special predicted reality TV.
Yes, except it'd be like if our reality TV was like footage from like Syria, and it was like, look how good you have it. These people are in the middle of a war, and you're fine. It's so like patently Empire bullying evil. I love it. Look how shitty Tatooine is. You have nothing to complain about.
Goodbye, friend. Goodbye, friend.
Good night.
That's what I'm gonna say to all of you in a few seconds, because goddamn,
you could not have gotten that more wrong. The song is called "Good Night," not "Goodbye."
Yeah.
So the one thing she doesn't say is goodbye.
Oh, I see.
She's actually specifying that she is not saying goodbye.
You are also singing how much the tune of a song from, I think, 8 Crazy Nights instead of the song.
I also had a couple beers since we've been trying to record this mess, so that might play a part in it too. But
I wish I weren't sober.
Then homeward bound, friends. I legitimately like that part. I just called her Bay Arthur.
Bay. Oh,
B Arthur is Bay Arthur.
It's Bay Arthur. Yeah.
I didn't like this part at all.
Really?
I liked it more than the others, but I still prefer the cartoon.
It's like the weird break from we're gonna show you how shitty life on Tatooine is, and there's an Imperial curfew. So the reason that life on Tatooine sucks is because of the Empire. So I don't know why they'd be showing us propaganda.
It doesn't look that bad.
Everyone has to get out of B. Arthur's bar, which she owns, not the Mos Eisley Cantina, but also definitely the Mos Eisley Cantina.
Yeah, no, that's so okay. So that's Chalman's Cantina. She's the nighttime bartender there.
Yeah, the bar it's a 24-hour bar until the Imperial curfew. And then everyone's got to go home, and no one wants to leave, and they just ignore B. Arthur, who's like asking them all to leave and saying, "We're friends, aren't we? We're friends. Go home."
Oh, I love when she's like, "Oh, and remember that time? Oh, I don't think I've met you."
Yeah,
but it's like you guys were complaining about like sets and crap like that. Like this is the Cantina set. This is the costumes that those aliens had.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's several costumes that they must have like filmed it, but like that scene was cut or something like that.
Like, this is where the rest of the budget went.
And she's like, there's like the giant rat, and I love the giant rat.
I love the rat.
The giant rat. I was like,
great.
what the hell?
It's not even a rat. It's like a big.
That one took me by surprise.
Or something, a hamster.
No, it's a rat.
It's a hamster. It's totally a hamster.
No, it's a rat. I saw it.
Yeah. Oh man, this is such a good scene. I did a Christmas album a couple years ago, and I did a cover of this on that album. I just was double checking. It is the song is not available on my Bandcamp, but if you listen to the full album on my YouTube, youtube.com/Kendall K Halman. That's KHALMAN. You can listen to Christmas Creep and hear my cover of it. I also did a ukulele cover of it.
I legitimately
yesterday.
love that song.
Yeah, I did a ukulele cover of it yesterday.
A ukulele. Suddenly I thought about the game ukulele. I gotta say that.
It's not often you hear a ukulele cover of like a like jazzy late night lounge song.
Oh yeah. It's like one of my favorite songs that I've ever done.
I don't love lounge music, but it's something about the fact that Brie Arthur is singing it. It's got that it's just the Cantina song. It's just lyrics were added to the Cantina song in Star Wars.
Well, no, it's not lyrics there because they play the riff, but then the
song itself is different.
The verse is different. Yeah,
the chorus of the song, the melody changes to play the Cantina song, but it plays it like slowly so that you know it's a sad song. That's why I say like this feels like an Eric Andre sketch. It feels like somebody knew what they were doing and then intentionally made it weird and bad on purpose as a joke.
It's a terrific song. B. Arthur does a terrific job. The guy with the hole in his head to drink, I think is hilarious.
Is that
volcano guy
Art Carney or the same guy from?
Okay, yeah, that's Harvey Korman.
Oh, yeah, I'm not doing very good right now with the who's who.
He plays Krellman, or as B. Arthur calls him mistakenly, Curlman.
Yeah. Well, he's the guy that pours the drink into the top of his head where his mouth is, I guess.
Yeah, and he's also in love with B. Arthur.
Yeah,
because she said.
Yeah, go ahead.
I forgot what she said.
He's talking about how like
come back soon. I'll be waiting.
Yeah, okay, that's what
those 6 words.
Like, those 6 words you said to me that melted my heart. I never thought I could love again until you said those 6 words to me. And she's like, all right, drunk asshole, get out of here. She just plays B. Arthur. She is just B. Arthur in this movie.
Right. And she does. I mean, she's got like, it's one of those moments like where you can tell who has chops. And something like this, you can tell who has acting chops and who like really has to work at it, because Harrison Ford does an excellent job. She does an excellent job. I think Harvey Korman and the other guy.
You think Art Carney did a good job?
I think do like it. I mean, they do what they're trying to do. I mean, Art Carney, his character it's a weird choice for Star Wars.
Well, it's just Art Carney. He's just playing Art Carney. The same with B. Arthur. Right. B. Arthur is just being B. Arthur in this movie. She might as well be her character from Golden Girls.
And that's fun. But that's the thing. I mean, that's why you have celebrities that do they're doing their shtick. Yeah. And they do it well, as opposed to Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher, whose acting is like not the best, or not Grand Moff Tarkin, who
look, he's doing his best Grand Moff Tarkin. All right, he knew going in that he was not Peter Cushing, and he never could be, but he gave it his all.
Yeah,
it's interesting. It's just interesting to see stuff like this when you can kind of see who who sticks out as this is actually a pretty good performance.
Let's be completely honest. Carrie Fisher did not know where she was.
No, absolutely.
I love Carrie Fisher, and she is like my spirit animal, but she had no idea that she was even filming something.
Well, she only agreed to do it if she could sing.
You can see her coke finger in this. We haven't mentioned that yet. Carrie Fisher, alleged by Carrie Fisher herself, is that she had a massive coke problem. And at some point, she puts her hand on Harrison Ford's shoulder, and you can see that one of her nails is significantly longer than her other fingernails. And for the kids out there, that's called a Coke finger. And you use it to scoop Coke into your nose.
Diet Coke, Coca-Cola.
Yeah, to scoop Diet Coke into your nose, to get that sweet Diet Coke into your bloodstream.
Oh, God. Okay, I got it.
Allegedly.
There's another part. There's another part that I didn't catch right away until later. So that little communicator thing that Lumpy spends a whole 10 minutes watching a video on how to put it together.
Why don't we talk about that before we talk about why the hell was he a robot?
Yeah.
The character doing the instructions was a robot, but it was live
breaking down. He was a robot that was desperately need of maintenance.
If that's like an instruction, a video or something, why not, redo it when he's not broken.
Because this is the best take that they had.
I bet
they just wanted to get out of here.
I just love like how at the end of that instruction video, he just put his head on the table and just pushed himself away, like, take me out of this shit.
I would bet you anything that he did that completely straight in some editor somewhere, because it's not him doing the emotions, it's the editing, it's how they edit that footage. I guarantee you he did that straight, and some editor somewhere was like, hey, I can kind of do this thing with editing that makes it look like you're a robot. And someone was like, yes, that's going in the movie. And he was like, no, it's just something I do as like a little joke. It's not that good. They're like, okay, fuck it.
So if it wasn't, wait, so you're saying it was just going to be an instruction video with no jokes?
I think it was just, I think they were planning on doing something. I would bet good money that some editor told somebody that he could do this. And they said, okay, you're doing that. And he immediately regretted it.
I don't know. I mean, so the thing is, I watched when I was growing up, I watched a lot of Sonny and Cher. I watched a lot of other stuff like this. I mean, granted, this is not the ideal execution of a variety hour like this, but I mean, these kinds of shticks, these kinds of, kind of one note gags. I mean, that's a thing that would happened a lot in 1978.
Yeah, but those old shows, they were usually like live and like they were planned out, but it was like, all right, like this is live and we've got like 10 minutes until the next act is ready. So just like do your shtick for a while until we can get the next act on stage. With this wasn't live. This was filmed and edited, and somebody had to say, yes, this is good, print and ship it. So
I mean, it still was just filling 2 hours of television.
I guess, yeah, but like if you've got to fill 2 hours of television.
Look, I'm just saying. I mean, I know there were troubles behind the scenes and stuff like that. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of stuff in this that either that I like or that I think is it has aged poorly because lots of TV was bad back then.
Yeah,
I'd rather watch this than an episode of Gilligan's Island.
Well, let me ask you this, because as I watched this for the 6th time, I wondered to myself, I wondered how I would have done this, how it could have been made better.
You wondered what you were doing with your life. I know.
That was the first 40 minutes. The next 50 minutes were me wondering how to make this workable.
By not doing it at all, never releasing it to the public.
Well, yes. I came up with 2 solutions, or 3 solutions rather.
Burn this whole thing down.
Solution 1, burn this whole thing down.
Yes.
Solution 1, you shoot 20 minutes worth of footage, you realize it's shit. You shoot another 20 minutes, you realize it's not getting any better, and you say, well, we either need to completely change focus or shut this down. That's solution 1. Solution 2 is, this could have been a live variety show, and then the fact that everything was falling apart and broken would have been part of the funniness of it, and probably would have made people like enjoy it a lot more, knowing that these people were trying their best and the smoke machine just kept blowing smoke directly into Luke's gaping car crash wound. It wasn't that bad, but I'm exaggerating. But still, if this was live, it would have been better. My third solution was, it wasn't so much a solution. I was thinking about how I would do this today if this could survive today. And it would either have to be an Eric Andre sketch or a Tim and Eric thing where it was like intentionally weird and bad, and that's the joke. Or like I was wondering if Daisy Ridley and John Boyega came out and they said, we're doing a variety show to promote Rise of Skywalker. It's like, what could they do? What acts could they have within the Rise of Skywalker holiday special?
Oh no.
Never.
Okay, no, wait. Although you said that, wasn't there like an Adam Driver doing the Kylo Ren?
Yeah, his the
SNL
the technician undercover boss sketch.
Yeah, that. Now that's good.
That's hilarious. That is one of the funniest things SNL has done in a long time.
I mean, Adam Driver is a better actor than most of these people.
Yeah. Adam Driver is great. He plays that so straight and so funny. It's one of my favorite SNL sketches of all time. So I was thinking, like that would be something like that would be perfect within a modern variety show for Star Wars. You could have a stand-up comedian come out and do like a 10-minute set or 15-minute set, and the whole set is like in the Star Wars universe. and fans would get it, and it could be really funny.
And I mean, the Robot Chicken specials did they basically did that. I mean,
you can have and like bring Seth Green and Seth MacFarlane on and have them do a whole Robot Chicken sketch in the middle of it. I was thinking about what would be in it today, and would it be worthwhile to make? And I came up with an idea in my head that I think would be funny, and I think would be worthwhile to make today. So hit me up, Adam Driver.
What we're saying here is hashtag remake the holiday special.
Listen to us, Disney. Holiday special. I'm coming out.
Look,
let's put it out there.
It could come out great like the Robot Chicken specials, or it could come out terrible like the Family Guy specials.
And either way, it works. If it's good, the only problem with it is if it's okay. If it's average, then it's a failure. That's the only way it's a failure. If it comes out and it's good, people will love it. And if it's so bad that it's unwatchable, people will love that it's so bad that it's unwatchable. People will love that it's true to the original holiday special.
I really do wish that Disney Plus would release a legit high quality version of this, just for historical sake. Like, there needs to be this is something that there is a high quality version that exists. Carrie Fisher had it. She put it on at parties when she wanted people to leave. Like, legit high quality.
Yeah, that's true. That's a true thing.
That is a story that I heard on another podcast where 5 people were yelling at each other.
Like this one?
Listening to I would advise our listeners to go out and listen to any instance of Carrie Fisher being like interviewed, or her appearance on right before she passed away. She was on a British panel show that I love called 8 out of 10 Cats. That was hilarious. Or not, she was on 8 out of 10 Cats and QI. And she is just like the funniest woman on the planet.
If you can find the link, send it to me. I'll put it in the show notes.
Okay. Yeah. There's just so many great interviews of her where she like admits to the holiday special and was like, yeah, it was shit. And she was like, yeah, I just had fun doing it. And I don't really remember doing most of it because I was high on coke, allegedly.
There is a part in this movie where I had the biggest smile. And I'm sure I couldn't have been the only one. I'm curious if Peter smiled at this part too. When he picks up when the stormtrooper picks up the communicator, when he realized the communicator sent all the other troops home because they got baffled by a little fucking Wookiee that somehow hacked into their system, and he picks it up and he throws it, and Lumpy just starts getting all upset, and I just had the biggest smile. Fuck Lumpy. I can't be the only one.
That was fun.
You're a monster, Mike.
You're an Imperial Stormtrooper, Mike.
I like the Wilhelm scream. I like the Wilhelm scream. I thought that was at least they added that.
Oh yeah, that climactic showdown between Han Solo and that Stormtrooper.
Oh man, I like that part.
Best fight in the entire Star Wars saga. Not even Episode 1, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul. So intense.
You know what though? Not that different from.
That's the one you go to. Okay.
Not that different from.
It's the first one I thought about.
Tapping a scout trooper on the soldier. Shoulder. I mean, not that much different than that, though.
Like, they just throw him off the balcony. I mean, it was great. Well, I guess.
My favorite part of that is.
They don't throw him. He throws himself off the balcony.
He throws himself. My favorite part of that is the sound guy clearly forgot to put in any sort of sound effects there. And so he silently taps his shoulder, whacks the gun out of his hand, and you hear the balcony crack, but you don't hear any noise from the stormtrooper himself.
Except
until you hear the balcony crack and the Wilhelm scream. It's like, oh, it's like the gun hitting the ground doesn't make a noise. Han Solo doesn't make a noise. That's why I can't tell if this was either rushed or lazy or both, or it's both. Is it both that perfect combination of like people that were overworked and did not give a shit about making something good?
It was the issue. My understanding of it is that there were production troubles, and that perhaps it was overly ambitious.
Well, that's certainly one way of saying it.
I don't think anybody wanted to. It wasn't a situation where people didn't care, or where
yeah, I'm not implying that like nobody cared
for this. George Lucas had a vision for this. I think the people did the best they could.
George Lucas. Well, that's always a matter of debate because there's two stories there. There's the stories of the production team of this and George Lucas's side. And I tend to lean towards the productions team side of this, where the production team sent George Lucas dailies from the holiday special. They sent him dailies, every day. That's why they're called dailies. So like let him know what like the production was looking like, let him know what everything was what everything going on was like. And apparently he just okayed it every single time. So their side is that George Lucas did not give a shit. He was just saying like, yeah, do whatever you want. I don't give a shit.
So my understanding, and this is from the Stuff You Should Know podcast, which they do research, I think. It was more that like George Lucas was like, okay, I want there to be a variety show. I'm gonna pick this guy. I'm gonna have this guy who did the I don't know what the Brady Bunch Variety Hour or whatever. I don't know the guy, and I'm just gonna trust him to make it, So I do think, George Lucas had an initial idea, but I think the production, he was very hands off on the production. Well, so he learned from that, and he made the prequels and made sure that he was extremely hands on. So that and that's why those movies are so universally beloved now.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, sure. Universally
beloved. Like.
But that was your favorite battle in all of Star Wars was from Episode 1.
No. That was the first one that came to my mind. I could have said Obi-Wan versus Anakin in Episode 3. I could have said Kylo Ren versus Rey in Episode 7.
Like how Kendall said something controversial, and it's just all of us going, I don't know.
Look, I understand that some people consider Episode 1 to be the best Star Wars movie. Personally, Empire is my favorite, but I respect that. I respect that.
Empire is the best movie in the saga. A New Hope is my personal favorite. So
Empire, my list always goes Empire, then A New Hope, Return of the Jedi, and I don't know where the new ones fit in. Just saying the original 6.
I actually put Force Awakens.
Phantom Menace. I stand by Phantom Menace having a lot of good stuff in that movie, and the final fight is great.
Episode 1, the best part about that movie is that fight that I mentioned earlier. That
fight is great. Also, if I don't care what anyone says, pod racing was cool as fuck, and we all thought so.
Until you realize that it's just going left to right.
Oh, that's NASCAR.
It's basically NASCAR.
It's NASCAR with stakes, even though I guess NASCAR has stakes too, but not. At NASCAR, 90% of the racers don't not make it to the finish line.
99. Well,
nobody snipes at you at NASCAR.
Yeah, if NASCAR would be a lot better if at the end of the race only 2 cars made it, that would be awesome. But
pod racing sucks because Sebulba always wins
until he doesn't.
Until he's one of the 90% that don't make it to the end.
And since you guys are saying.
Let's face it, if there was a sport like NASCAR where at the end of the race 2 cars passed the finish line and the other 80 cars were exploded bloody wrecks, we would watch that shit every day.
Do you know how much money I had on Ben Quadranero?
Oh boy. Mike, what were you saying? Please save us from this.
I was going to say,
Skywalker crosses the finish line. A woogie bongo.
My favorite Star Wars movie is Return of the Jedi. But I haven't rewatched all of them. This is from my childhood. I love Return of the Jedi. So I think
Return of the Jedi doesn't hold up at all. It's the worst.
I love the space battle in Return of the Jedi. It is. I know that the Rogue One kind of overtook it a little bit, a lot, I want to say. But I still think that it's a very good scene, especially when you cut the ground parts, and just leave the space battle, and it's a trap.
I always say A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back are perfect movies in my mind. They're absolutely perfect.
I would say Empire Strikes Back more so than A New Hope.
Absolutely.
Sure. A New Hope for me is what introduced me to Star Wars. Even though I was born in the 90s, I saw it in the theater when they rerun it. And ever since then, I've become enamored with this universe. So that's why it holds such a special part of my life, because I've watched it more than any other of the Star Wars films as well. So
I can say without a doubt I've watched those 2 movies more than any other movie in my life, because Empire Strikes Back and A New Hope, my grandmother had those on VHS back in the old days before the special editions. And so I would, like, whenever I was at her house, I would watch A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, like, back to back after school. So I think those are like the first movies I ever watched, and I still watch them like once a year, at the very least.
Oh, I do have a funny story about Return of the Jedi that I want to share on here. Peter will know what I'm talking about once I start going. So when the first time I saw Return of the Jedi in theaters, I was going through a phase where I was terrified of movies.
Right. Yeah.
For a dumb reason. And when I remember when I saw Return of the Jedi, we got to the Rancor part. I had to leave. I don't remember what year this was when the special editions came out in theaters. I had to leave. I couldn't do it. I was terrified.
Hold on. You can't just say that and not unpack it.
He says it so nonchalantly, like
I was. You were afraid of movies, huh? You were afraid of the concept of movies.
I don't know.
Or
scary.
Like,
hello, everybody. Welcome back to.
You were scared by other things.
I mean, Peter remembers when I saw Jurassic Park the first time at my house, and he brought over the VHS. I had to leave when the lawyer got eaten.
Right. I do remember that. You hadn't seen it, but you knew it was coming.
That's a scary scene for a kid in the 90s.
You were more frightened by scary scenes in movies at that period in your life. The way you said it was, I'm afraid of movies.
I was scared to see a movie in theater.
The line starts roaring, and like the producer credits come up, and you're just like, I gotta go. I can't be here right now.
It's because I saw the movie The Phantom, and I went with an older friend of mine who got me all psyched out thinking the movie was going to be worth. And then for about maybe a year or 2 years, I was just terrified of going to the movie.
Wait, The Phantom came out in 2009, didn't it?
No, not that.
Oh, no.
Let's find out.
You were terrified of looking in the microphone.
I'm thinking about something else.
Thinking about the Spirit.
The Spirit, yeah. That would be really funny. It would be funny though if when Mike was 22, he was afraid of all movies.
Like you see Billy Zane walking down the street, and you're just like, I can't do it. It's just like curling up in a ball. You just shut down.
The Phantom came out in '96, so I was 9 years old.
Okay.
Sure. I don't think I've ever heard anybody.
I still don't.
The Phantom movie.
Welcome to hour number 5 of dissecting what the hell happened to Mike as a kid.
Oh man,
this is worse than anything I've ever said by far.
I've said worse on this podcast, I'm sure. This ain't that bad. But the whole thing with the Rancor just terrified me. I remember I had to get out of the theater, and I sat outside the door waiting until the scene was over. And it was for Peter's birthday party or something, right, Peter? Is that what we saw it for?
To the best of my knowledge, that was 22 years ago, but I think it sounds right to me.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
But yeah, and because I only went and saw Return of the Jedi, I think you saw all of them when they came out in theaters.
I did, yeah.
But
the Rebel Lights has gone to the local Regal cinemas. Can they sit through the entirety of Jurassic Park?
This was 1997. That's when it came out in theaters. So that's when this happened.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So I was 10. I should not have been terrified of the Rancor.
Wow.
You know what? I give you props for admitting it on the podcast.
It's very brave of you.
Yeah, so brave.
Can be scary. You know what? It's like a stop motion giant monster. I can see how people would be frightened by it.
I don't know. I was a kid and I wasn't scared of that. The Jurassic Park, the Jurassic Park T-Rex eating the lawyer. Now that part, because it's under the rain and
played for laughs.
We're gonna find out that like the rest of us are just like bloodthirsty monsters, and Mike is the only one that's normal.
I still hate horror movies to this day. Like I don't like watching them. They still creep me out. Yet I married a woman that has a Freddy Krueger on her tattoo of Freddy Krueger on her arm. So hey,
started a podcast with two people that love horror.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, our favorite games are like Silent Hill, Stalker, Resident Evil. We watched. I can tell you for a fact that Stephanie and I both watched collectively like 4 or 5 Nightmare on Elm Streets this Halloween.
All right. Any last things we want to say about Star Wars Holiday Special? Oh, we didn't. We should talk about the ceremony.
We have to talk about the ceremony. We have to talk about the end.
Do we?
Yes. Because we're never doing this again.
It's like this is where the movie goes full fever dream, and nothing makes sense. And
okay, how did they end up there? Like, don't they like? It shows a scene of them walking across the space. And
they walk into a different dimension, like filled with stars. And
it wasn't just me.
Have you ever seen Star Trek: The Motion Picture?
Stripping the balls. Unfortunately, I have.
It starts. They all pull a Star Trek emotion. That was like.
God.
That was Steve Binder's Your Move to whoever did Star Trek Motion Picture. I don't know.
Terrible movie.
Wait, what year did Star Trek: The Motion Picture come out?
Oh, long.
I think right after
No,
this.
no. It was post Star Wars.
It was yeah.
It was.
Okay.
Oh no, yeah, it was the year after. It was 79. So Motion Picture stole that from the holiday special.
Oh God, no wonder I also hate that movie.
Oh my
The first
God.
one's terrible. The Star Trek motion picture is garbage.
Yes.
I really enjoy the motion picture, but
I like it too.
That's,
I hate it. I like the second one,
okay.
but I hate.
I like Robert Wise.
Yeah,
Wise was the guy who did some of the
Wrath of
music.
Khan is really good.
All right, back to what you were saying.
Back to Star Wars.
Back to Star
to the
Wars.
other
We're in
side.
a different dimension. All the Wookiees are dressed like it's The Handmaid's Tale, and they're all walking. I think that was a joke Peter made earlier that I'm stealing.
It was me, but it's okay.
Yeah, they're all dressed like Handmaid's Tale. They're walking down their bridges, their tree bridges, and suddenly they're in a different dimension. It's like the most sappy, over-the-top ending ever, where it's like they get there and they're like, oh, Chewbacca finally made it home, and he's celebrating Life Day with his family. And Han's here too. Oh my God, and Carrie Fisher and Princess Leia. And Luke's here, and the robots, and everyone's here.
How did they get here?
They got there for the. They're there for the actual celebration, you know.
They all
Chewbacca was there for Christmas Eve, and then they all met at the church for
Life Day.
It's
not Christmas Eve.
It's metaphor. It's a metaphor.
No,
it's
Thanksgiving.
Life Day.
But Carrie Fisher decides that she's going to co-op Life Day, and she wrote a song that everybody has to listen to for Life Day. And they all just sit there and watch her sing it until the film decides she's done singing, and it starts playing the Star Wars music over that and fades her out.
No, that's not how I see it. She sings her song, and it culminates in the Star Wars main theme. So you're hearing her and you're like, she's singing, "We celebrate the day."
Oh no.
And then you start to hear in the background, you're like, whoa. And it's like, whoa, it's the Star Wars main theme. Oh my gosh. It's crazy. And then they cut the clip from the movie, and it's like, oh my gosh, this was all worth it. This is the coolest thing.
It's like,
I mean,
in the
I did
70s,
say
I
worst
loved it.
prank ever, where they're like, "Surprise, asshole! You were watching Star Wars the whole time." It's like they fade her out. They just fade her out. She doesn't finish the song.
oh my God, it's over. I'm done. I mean, that did come out when I finished this last night, but you know, it was.
Are we sure those aren't the lyrics to the Star Wars theme? I mean,
Well, we have lyrics to the Cantina song, so maybe they just lyricized the Star Wars thing. Actually, there's a British comedian who was on. Who was it? There's a British comedian who was on 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown, which is a British panel show, and he wrote songs to like he wrote lyrics to the Star Wars theme and to like the Jurassic Park theme. I wish I could remember them. They're so fucking funny. Jurassic Park one is like, "Oh my God, it's a dinosaur."
Yes. Okay, my best friend sent me that the other day.
Yeah.
I listened to that. I had never listened to it, and it's amazing.
It's really funny. So it's entirely possible, that Carrie Fisher was just writing words.
A dinosaur. I don't know, something like that.
I'll have to look it up after this. It's really good.
Princess Leia's song at the end is awesome. That's all I'm saying. I was gonna cover it on the ukulele, but I could not do it justice because I didn't have a full orchestra to swell. That's
because you didn't have enough coke.
I want to emphasize this is not the orchestra playing here. It is not like a recording of they didn't sync up the Star Wars soundtrack. They recorded a full orchestra and scored out this entire thing. I mean, I know that there are themes that are repetitive, but this is not. I mean, they were not. This is not them putting it in a jukebox or whatever. Like there's an orchestral score for this thing. It's.
Well, John Williams actually they had John Williams on board for it. But I think at that point he had made so much money off Star Wars that he was like, I guess I kind of have to contractually show up. And my favorite part though is while she's singing, they do a fade in vignette shot of Harrison Ford and Luke and Mark Hamill, and the looks both those little vignettes are my favorite thing ever because there's this constant joke where that vignette of Harrison Ford, you can see the moment he stopped caring.
Yeah.
And when they show Mark Hamill as Luke, it's like him looking to the side. Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford is looking right at the camera. Mark Hamill is looking off to the side, and you only see one part of his face, and the other part of his face is hidden and it's shadowed and there's hair over it. because that's the part that got fucked up. It's so obviously trying to hide it. It's like the only way they could get it close up is if they got him to look a very specific angle and covered half his face and just threw a shitload of makeup on there.
It is way too much makeup. It looks terrible.
Yeah, it's so funny to me. I laughed so hard.
Did you watch this on a 12-inch black and white TV in 1978? You wouldn't have been able to see that.
That's true. Yeah, I mean they did a good job. It's just when when people find ways to make this high definition, it suddenly looks terrible. But then,
I do want to say something when you're done with that.
The way the movie decides it's gonna end is we're gonna fade out Carrie Fisher, we're gonna fade in the Star Wars theme, and then we're gonna do a Conan the Barbarian style ending with Chewbacca staring at the screen.
Oh yeah.
While archive footage of the first movie, random footage that has very little to do with Chewbacca. Some stuff is like, it's like Luke seeing the Millennium Falcon for the first time, and Chewie and Han are there. Or it's like Chewie winning when Chewie wins Dejarik, that's like his thing in the first movie. That's his big moment. So that plays. But then it's like just scenes of Alec Guinness. It's like, well, why does Chewie give a shit about Alec Guinness?
Look at all this that you could be watching instead of this piece of crap.
But you couldn't be watching it. You couldn't be watching it because it was not available on home video.
Yeah. So if you couldn't see Star Wars in the movies, this was just like a reminder, like, hey, remember this awesome scene from the movie? Like,
I mean, they literally sold. I was at the half price books a few months ago. You could buy a vinyl that was just the audio of the movie, because I mean, this is what you did when you couldn't when you couldn't just watch it at any time. So I mean, this is a little taste of Star Wars in a world that all you had was one movie.
1982.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm watching the end of the movie again, by the way.
Oh boy.
And I'm just laughing at the archive footage they play. They play the scene. One of the archive footage scenes is when Obi-Wan is fighting Darth Vader and he realizes that he's going to sacrifice himself and become a Force ghost, and he smiles. And the only reason they show that is because Chewie was in the background of that shot, and he kind of goes like no. And that's the only reason it's in there. And then it's just a still image of Chewie staring at the camera. And all I can imagine is how great would it be if it ended like Conan the Destroyer, and it was just Chewie staring at the camera, aging until he became a withered skeleton.
Oh God, no. Oh, please.
Like the next 50 years of Chewie's life go by. But then it's the hidden ending too.
This fucking.
Yeah, I hate it.
God. It's so fucking weird.
I do remember the first time I heard about it was randomly like people telling me it existed, and I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" That's how I found out. You know, I mean, the internet was around, of course, but that's how I found out this movie first existed. Like, I think that's also kind of funny too.
I found out because of Nostalgia Critic and Chris Stuckman doing videos on it. That's the only way that I knew about it. Otherwise, I would have never known about it.
My middle school band director's husband had it on VHS. I never saw it, but she made reference to it, so it was always on my radar. But yeah, like growing up, it was like, because you could get download video, but it was really difficult to download video online. And yeah, so I didn't see it. I didn't actually see it until a couple years ago.
I saw a copy of it at a friend's house. He had it on DVD as well. And he was like, "Hey, you want to watch some Star Wars?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" And
fuck yeah, Star Wars. Lightsabers, laser swords.
One thing funny, I did remember what I wanted to say earlier is that the copy that we were watching on YouTube, which if you search Star Wars Holiday Special, that's going to pop up. When you're watching it, it says broadcast from Dayton, Ohio. I was just laughing because Kendall's from Ohio.
Yes.
That's cracking me up. I was like, so Kendall's the one who put this on here.
Dayton, Ohio is my mother's hometown, actually. It's about an hour. It's about an hour from here.
Was she involved in the Holiday Special?
No.
She in the Wazin troop or whatever the name is, the weird Cirque du Soleil people that show up for some reason.
Oh, we didn't mention that thing. That's one thing we skipped over, which I'm almost okay with.
Somehow forgot to mention the Cirque du Soleil furries.
I need to know that I wanted to turn off the machine, and Tiff looked at me like, "What the hell is this?" And I'm like, "I don't know.
It's like worse than if somebody walked in on you watching porn. Walk in on you watching the holiday special. It's like, no, I swear. Like, I thought it was porn. I'm sorry.
You should have let Tiffany watch it with you. Or
she did. She fell asleep midway through this. She just passed out.
Okay, I was also falling asleep like a half an hour in. I was like, oh god.
Oh, I'm at the edge of my seat.
I still need one more hour of this shit.
All right, I think we should go to shelf or box at this point. I think we said enough about this movie. We actually had this recording before editing has hit longer than the movie at this point.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, like if we did this for another 10 years nonstop recording, it would feel like it was as long as the movie.
All right. I think Kendall, why don't you go first for shelf or box?
Shelf. Yes.
Surprise.
I was really close to so I've shown this movie to my in-laws. I haven't shown it to my parents, but I think that that's going to be sometime this holiday season. I may have to
hate him.
But I mean, my freaking cat's named Akmina. I'm definitely going to one of these days buy the 45 of the Jefferson Starship song. That's a thing. But no, I freaking love this thing. Like I said, it's one of the only times that we see the Empire really being like fascistic and evil. Like it does so much for the lore. It's also such an interesting piece of history, of a snapshot in time. I mean, the freaking the Good Night But Not Goodbye is such a fucking good song. It's so great. It's so great, so entertaining. Plus you play it for people and they just like look at you funny. It's like the first time I saw Napoleon Dynamite. Like it's amazing.
But you just compared a good movie with a terrible movie. I don't understand.
I want to point out that
I don't even take it either way.
I want to point out that since we're recording this on Skype, I'm seeing Emmanuel's picture looking at Kendall explaining this, and it's so perfect. It's so Emmanuel's picture just looking so like accusingly and confused. While Kendall explains why he genuinely likes this movie.
I had not noticed that, actually.
I was trying not to laugh.
Fucking
for those that can't see, it's a picture of Emmanuel like looking questioningly off to the side. For those that don't have the Skype call in front of them like us, but it's perfect. Just know that.
Most people, I'd hope.
I realized halfway through it, I just could not stop laughing.
The thing is, I was literally about to say it's a good thing that there's no video because I'm just shaking violently in my head right now.
Eventually,
of everything that is coming out of this man's mouth.
I'm glad we found the one person who like genuinely likes this movie.
I know that's what it's perfect. I didn't. Yes,
I was gonna. Oh well. I was going to say, I'm just going to preempt you and say, I kind of agree with Kendall because I do have the DVD, so it might as well be on my shelf. But I would definitely show it to people, and I definitely want to show it to people and say, here's a time capsule of Star Wars right after it was big, and here's what the fever wrought for us.
What we'll do is we'll get you a little TV, bring it to your work at half-price books, and you can just play that all day and see if people are like, what the hell is this?
That's where I got it. That's where I got the DVD from. Somebody sold it for some reason.
Half-price books bought a bootleg? That's interesting.
Well, if it's collectible enough, then there might be some justification to selling it.
No, I don't. I'm not. No judgment. It's just they usually wouldn't buy bootlegs. I would think.
This movie doesn't have official release, so I guess that's why.
George Lucas made damn sure that there was never an official release of this shit.
It's funny that even after they sold to Disney, that Disney hasn't this is something that even Disney won't touch. Even Disney won't go back and re-release, or at least they haven't yet.
I was actually going to ask if it wasn't on Disney Plus.
Re-released the Tartakovsky series, so
I've never seen those either.
Oh, those are really good.
You've never seen them? They're so. Oh, you wouldn't like them because you can't understand the dialogue for the first 20 minutes.
Well, once Song of the South comes out, then maybe no.
Okay,
talking about the fucking Wookiee noise, and we forgot to mention that during the ceremony, when all the Wookiees are looking at Carrie Fisher and walking there, all the Wookiees are making noise. All of them are saying things in Wookiee speak, and it's like it like drowns out the voice. Like if you had voices in your head, this would cure you. It's like somebody just took the Chewbacca noise and copy and pasted it 50 times and played them all over top of one another. It's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
God, I hate it.
It's actually this is a true fact. Is that's the noise they used to interrogate and torture ISIS members in Guantanamo, because that's the only thing that will drive you insane in less than a minute.
So when I when I did the last time I did a podcast about the holiday special, it was for my show. We did a bonus episode of a show that I did called War and Beast about Beast Wars, and I used to pull sound clips that I would play into the thing, and I kept I had one. It actually, I think it was the very beginning where there's like the music and then the Wookiees growling at each other, and I'd be like, there's this sound clip that I pulled from this, this really good speech that Rhinox made, and then I hit play, and it'd be the like
we should try to recreate it. All five of us should do our best Wookiee impression.
Oh God, it's gonna be horrible.
Kill our listeners.
Are there even any listeners at this point? I think
at this point, if you're still listening. I don't know if we even should. I want to, but it would be so awful.
Congratulations. We can do it. I'll give us a countdown.
Oh God, this is gonna be horrible.
All right, countdown. Everyone do for like a good 2 seconds your best Wookiee as right into the mics to recreate the noise of the holiday special.
Oh God.
Imagine that, but okay, so go back and play that again, but turn the volume all the way up to high.
Put it in reverse. There may be some subliminal message in there.
If you have a few speakers, be sure to hold them up to your ears like headphones.
Turn the treble all the way up. That's what what gets me about it is the EQs all messed up.
And loop it for like a good minute, a full 60 seconds.
So I want to say like because I told you that I heard about this thing and didn't watch it for years and years and years. So I did legitimate, and also the version that I downloaded, when I downloaded it in high school, I could only see like the first 5 minutes of it. So it was literally just Wookiee stuff. And I heard
that sounds
the first, and like I literally heard people say the first 45 minutes is untranslated Wookiee talk. And so I just assumed that was literal. So when I saw it and it was only like 5 minutes, I was like, oh, this is perfectly reasonable.
It's just
all right, who needs to box their shelf?
Emanuel, why don't you go next?
I think you all know what the hell I'm doing with this piece of garbage. I'm boxing it. Although I will say, because I will box it because I never want to see it again. The only way that I'm going to see it again is if I bring my trusty co-host from my live streams, Midos and G, and just subject them to watch this, and we have a drinking game or something. Like every time that they say Life Day or something, have a shot or something, we're gonna end up dying at
You'll
the
be
end.
Dead.
Yeah, I know, but that's the only way that I'm watching it again. Otherwise, box, burn it, throw it off a cliff. I don't know, whatever.
I'll go next. I know Stu will have a lot to say, so I'm gonna go next. I think it's obvious this is going in the box. Much as I love Star Wars and I love Return of the Jedi and many other movies that some people might not, Kendall, think are good movies or the best movies of the series, like I do. But this is garbage. I never want to see it again.
Not like this, but like Return of the Jedi. I just don't understand.
Because Return of the Jedi is an actually good movie. Yes, it's not a great movie.
It's a real movie.
It's got a plot. It's got a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Hey, I don't mind my cuddly bears. I don't like my cuddly bear named Lumpy talking, and I don't know. I can handle Ewok, but I couldn't handle Wookiee talk for 10 minutes, I guess.
Lumpy's costume is way better than any Wookiee.
No.
But this,
I mean, not Wookiee, Ewok. Sorry. Ewok. Is better than Lumpy's costume is better than any of the Ewoks.
No.
He's definitely better than a majority of the Ewoks, but Lumpy looks like something happened to him when he was younger.
No, I think I just strongly disagree. I think Lumpy and Mala both, their costumes are just both excellent. Like
they have
the Ewoks look worse than the original Sonic the Hedgehog design.
No.
Also, when the Ewoks open their mouths, you can't see human faces in them.
I never saw that, so
I'm surprised you guys didn't. I spotted it a couple times.
I kind of want to go back and check that out, but at the same time, I never want to actually hit play again on this thing.
Yeah.
So it's a tough decision right there. Like, it's hard. Like, I'm curious, but at the same time, I'm not.
I'm seeing if I can find it, or I'll send it to you.
Curiosity killed the Wookiee. Didn't you know?
But yeah, it's going in the box. Never again. I did it once for this podcast just because we made a stupid comment many months ago, and Emmanuel reminded me. So, box. How about you, Stu?
So this thing holds a special place in my heart.
Oh God!
Because I'm one of those people that I love Star Wars, and I love when things are bad. I love bad movies, either intentional or not. Well, that's not true. I love unintentionally bad things
and bad games. I think
and bad games, and I think this fulfills both quotas in spades. It's Star Wars. It's so Star Wars because it's like. It's the perfect Star Wars thing to come out after A New Hope. Just that perfect little indication of what Star Wars was going to be.
I don't think this is a perfect movie.
No, but it was a perfect encapsulation of what Star Wars was going to be. It was, this is Star Wars. We're going to market the fuck out of it. And
I mean, I think it's like comparable to like Solo.
It's a good movie.
Another good movie.
I like parts of this too, but for different reasons. I like
Solo's my number 3, so I think this should be number 4 probably.
Solo has legitimately good moments in it. The Star Wars Holiday Special has like one legitimately good moment, and well, that's not true. Like the joke about Tatooine and B. Arthur's song in the Tatooine sketch are both legitimately good things that happen. The rest of it is like,
the only good moment is when the credits roll and it was over. That was the only good moment in this entire thing.
The cartoon, you guys really?
See, I like the rest of it because of how weird it is. Because somebody had to sit down and make the decision of, okay, this part's going to be a cartoon, and somebody had to ask why, and they presumably didn't answer and just did it anyway. There's so many stories of like the back and forth between the production and George Lucas, and so many stories of like from Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher about being on the set of this and everyone just being like so laissez-faire about any sort of attitude to making this. Like, we don't give a shit. This is like a variety show. We're just throwing it out there. And like saying like the production changed halfway through and suddenly it became a legitimate production and they had to give a shit. And they still like were in a huge rush to get it ready for the holiday season. This is one of those things, too, where I think if you're a Star Wars fan, you should watch it at least once. You should sit down and you should watch the holiday special. I don't know why. But
I don't know why either, but sure, whatever.
I think just to say you've experienced it. And the best part of the holiday special is sitting down with other people and having them experience it for the first time.
While with a drink in hand. Yes.
The holiday special brings people together.
Much like us together.
Much like a tragedy, much like the Hindenburg crashing, people are brought together.
Okay, Stu, go to sleep, man. Go to
in times of intense terror.
Oh God,
we're brought together. We're all human. At the end of the day, we're all human.
Did you say what you were going to do with it?
This is definitely going very high on my shelf. I love what the holiday special is.
Mike, you and I, we're the only science of truth and justice in this podcast.
I don't necessarily agree with Peter and Kendall. I don't necessarily love this because I think it's good. I love it because it's bad, because it was rushed, because it had so many problems, and because there were so many decisions that were very confusing.
I have a quote from George Lucas where they asked him about the special in 2005, and he says, "The special from 1978 really didn't have much to do with us, you know. I can't remember what network it was on, but it was a thing that they did. We kind of let them do it. It was done by, I can't even remember who the group was, but they were variety TV guys. We let them use the characters and stuff, and that probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, but you learn from those experiences."
I was hung when I did this.
That fucking liar. He actively sought them out. And then I'm amazed that this movie wasn't directed by Alan Smithy. Like, the fact that anyone will take any credit for it is amazing.
All right, I think it's time that we wrap up this.
Credit for it. David Acombo shat with George Lucas.
We've been going for far too long. I feel like my soul has just gone off to the heavens.
For anyone who's still here, our normal episodes are nothing like this. This was chaos because chaos is the only way to talk about the holiday special.
This is longer than the holiday special itself.
Yes, it is.
There was a point when you went away, Mike.
Yes,
that we became a ravaging pack of hyenas here, like tearing each other apart.
That's how long this has been going.
No host means we are killing ourselves.
So anyone who is, so our normal episodes are nothing like this, but I hope you did enjoy it. And before we do, if you guys want to follow each, Kendall, if you want to go first and give a quick shout out about your show.
Yeah, so I do lots of stuff, but we're just finishing up our Star Wars roundtable on the Kendallcast podcast feed. Kendallcast.ninja or just Kendallcast.
There'll be a link.
My buddies and I, we are all big Star Wars fans and did our best all year to watch a movie once a month and then get together and review it. And I try to get them to not talk about The Last Jedi, but it happens. We get very opinionated. I'm right about most things, I think.
I disagree wholeheartedly.
I also disagree.
If you disagree with me, then you'll like the other three hosts on that on the Kendallcast Star Wars round.
I agree. They have much better opinions than Kendall does about Star Wars. I've realized after listening to them all.
I will take Mike's word for it and say I agree.
They're pretty good. But also, I do want to make a joke about Kendall's podcast because in the opening, nothing but Star Wars. Because he has other Star Wars stuff too.
If they should bar wars, let Star Wars stay.
Yep, that's in the intro. But also, the disclaimer, the B. Arthur's disclaimer is in the intro. Nice. This transmission is unrehearsed and unedited.
Also, that's what that was from in your opening of your podcast. Yeah. I was like, okay,
yeah.
Unrehearsed, unedited. Also, there's a dance number.
Also, the podcast unrehearsed. Well, it's edited, but unrehearsed. That's for sure.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I edit the podcast too, but I'm pretty sure that transmission also was edited. So,
yeah, but pretty sure.
I let it go without further comment to its lack of moral value.
I think it's not another teen movie at some point where they're like everyone does a big dance number, and one of the characters literally sings like, how come everyone knows these advanced steps to this choreographed song when none of us have ever done this before?
Peter, how about you?
Follow me on Twitter at PeterBP and read The Fifth Civilization, available now on Amazon.
Okay. I really should do that too myself, considering I've known you for, over 25 years? I really should buy your book.
You really should.
I really should. I'm like, one of these days I should buy it and have them sign it. And Emmanuel, how about you? Where can people find you at?
Well, people can find me over at twitch.tv/Commander Lionheart. I'm currently going through Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Also, you can go at youtube.com/Commander Lionheart because I will have a video of my reaction to the entirety of the holiday special. I mean, not the entirety, but just, select parts here and there where I wasn't falling asleep.
I mean, you drinking heavily?
You will not see me drinking because I never found that bottle of wine that I told you about. So, otherwise I probably would have.
My favorite part of all this is that Fallen Order came out and Mike had us watch this. It's like he's trying to bring balance to the Force. Fallen Order, one of the best Star Wars games to come out in a long time.
Oh yeah, it's I've only played 2 hours of it, granted, but it's so far pretty great.
I'd go so far as to say it's the best Star Wars game to come out this year.
I have no comment on that.
Is it the only Star Wars game, right?
Exactly. That's the
That's the joke.
Yeah. Mike, I know that you've had a couple.
I'm willing to go 8 years on that. I'm willing to say it was the best Star Wars game to come out in 8 years.
Hey, Force Unleashed is a good game. The first one.
I don't know. That definitely came out more than 8 years ago.
The first one again.
Oh God, are you? Okay,
the first one it came out in 2007, I want to say, because it was. I have it, and it's still when the PlayStation 3 logo is on the sides instead of on the top. So that's.
Wasn't it released? Isn't there a PlayStation 2 version of it?
Yes, there is also a PlayStation 2 version and a PSP version of it.
because the Wii version is a port of the PlayStation 2 version.
And the PSP version is different from all the other versions as well. So
Here, I'll make you feel really old, Mike. Star Wars: The Force Unleashed 2 came out 9 years ago.
Yeah, that one came out 9 years ago.
It's a bad game. Second one.
Yeah, I think the second one's still good.
I've never actually played the second one, even though I've played the first one.
Well,
I just
maybe I'm remembering wrong.
It wasn't nearly as good as the first one, but it was okay.
I couldn't get the hang of the stylus controls on Force Unleashed 2.
Yeah.
Wait, stylus as in DS?
Yeah, I tried to play it on DS.
Oh god!
Yeah, there was a DS and there was an iOS version.
You had the different force powers you'd use with the stylus.
Also, now that you mentioned that, I bet that Mike is gonna add it to his list of portable versions of games that we should play on the podcast.
No, I wouldn't waste a pick. First Force Unleashed I do want to play, but the PS3 360 version. Oh, but I do have a funny story. Since for anyone still listening, I'm going to throw this in because I'll probably never get the chance otherwise. Since you brought up Force Unleashed, when I used to work at Target, I remember some kid wanted to buy Force Unleashed on Wii, and I was young and stupid. I'm like, no, you don't want to buy that. You want to buy Lego Batman. It's a better game. And the guy's like, no, I want that. And I'm like, no, you really don't want this. You want, and he bought Force Unleashed. And I remember thinking, I probably shouldn't have did that. I got fired a few months later. Not for that. But it was always a joke. And I remember like, yeah, I wasn't a very good employee. No, I got fired for leaving my area to put away an item. Or no, leave my area to go help a customer because nobody would answer the damn walkie when I called and tried. And they saw me because they happened to walk by. Like, oh, you left your area. I'm like, nobody would help the customer. I didn't have a choice but to leave electronics. And I got fired for that.
Companies are garbage sometimes, you know.
That was all. Well, my position disappeared after they let me go. They didn't refill it for over a year, so they were just. It was also during the time of the recession in 2008, 2009.
Okay.
So that was a big part of it. I think they were just trying to save money. That didn't help. But oh man, this is the most. You know, this episode has been the most chaos we've ever had, but it's perfect to go along with the holiday special chaos.
Yeah. It's I don't know, man. It blends together so smoothly.
We should
it's like
end the show by singing "Good Night but Not Goodbye" while thinking about Carrie Fisher's French bulldog that can't keep its tongue in its mouth.
Considering that I don't know the lyrics, I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, I have good news for you. I just copied and pasted them.
Oh,
I was going to say I have.
Oh no!
I can accompany it.
Do it!
Oh God, he brought that ukulele too.
Oh, you know what? I feel like that should be the intro to this episode. Do you have a version of that? I'm just not kidding. Okay.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
The new ending is
so everybody
yelling.
who just
God. All right, I'm gonna start singing unless someone else wants to take over for this.
I gotta count us in. Jeez.
1, 2, 3. Just one more round, friend. Then
no one knows.
Friend. Don't
forget me in your dreams. Just one long friend. And then so long, friend. Oh, we are all into rhythm.
Nice gets
shorter, it seems. Just one more crime, friend. Yes, it's a crime.
Yes, it's a crime, friend. But you know time, friend. Time can't. Friend.
So it's good night.
Good night, friend.
Good night.
Good night.
Night, but not goodbye.
Just one more round, friend, and homeward bound, friend. Don't forget me in your dreams. Just one more song, friend, and so long, friend. The nights get shorter, it seems. Just one more rhyme, friend. Yes, it's a crime, friend. But you know time, friend, time can fly. So it's good night, friend. Good night, but not goodbye.